Hey there, Robert John Hadfield here from Audiomover with another record. We made videos for years showing things about cassette tapes and how they work, and we have videos about 8-track tapes and other things like that, and we decided a while back that we needed to start making some other types of videos about other types of analog music, and then we thought records. Since I have actually thousands of these things up in our front office, we thought we're going to start making some videos talking about what my personal favorite analog format was, which was albums. And we've got one here. Let's look. I was an 80s metal kid, so I loved stuff like this. And I'll be honest with you, going back and listening to it now, I still like it. I understand a little more. I hear the cheesiness in it a bit, but I still love some of this music. So this is Dokken, Tooth and Nail. And I got to be honest with you, I loved this album so much. I played this over and over and over. I could probably, if you put it on right now, I could probably sing most of it because I just loved this album that much. And so, this was the classic Dokken lineup. They've fallen apart and come back together so many times, since this era. But this was their second album. I think this was their second album. They had one right before this. I don't remember if the album was called Breaking the Chains or if it was just Dokken. But the one before this had the song called Breaking the Chains. And that was the first time a lot of us heard of Dokken. I listened to that one. I think that song is very sophomoric, amateur, not a great song. They had definitely matured by the time they got to this album, when they put Tooth and Nail together. And so, anyway, this is what the front cover looks like. It's got this, whatever this is, reaching out of the water, something, Tooth and Nail. So let's flip this over and look at the other side. Oh, and by the way, this one has signatures. So back in 2011, Dokken toured through Denver, Colorado, where I was living at the time, and they played a place called I think it was the Grizzly Rose. It's on right off of I-25. Maybe it's the Buffalo Rose. I can't remember which one it is, but they played this, and there was, I don't know, 700 people, 1,000 people showed up to it, somewhere in that neighborhood. And so certainly weren't as big as they were back in the day, but they played. They didn't have George Lynch with them. And I'm pretty sure Jeff Pilson wasn't playing with them, but they definitely had Mick Brown and Don Dokken were both in the band there. And so I took this with me in this odd off case I would meet them and get them to sign it. And so after the show was over, like a little teenager, I ran behind the building, and there they came outside, and I got Don and Mick to sign my record. And so it's kind of cool. Anyway, so this is the classic lineup, though. There's George Lynch. George Lynch, of course, guitar god. I mean, he really is considered one of the great, especially from this era, great metal guitar players. And he really, really was great. I mean, the guy was incredible. I especially liked this album because he was playing an Aria Pro 2, which my first electric guitar, the first good one, was an Aria Pro 2. So anyway, but George Lynch was just had such a cool image, and he was such a great player. So anyway, there's George Lynch. Of course, Don Dokken had his voice. I loved his voice. He didn't scream so much as a lot of the metal singers did. He had this very melodic, just kind of a beautiful sounding voice. I loved him. Mick Brown was Mick Brown, drummer, metal drummer. And then Jeff Pilson, who was the bass player, and supposedly a really great singer in his own right. George Lynch, once the band broke up, he and Don seemed to hate each other. They were always feuding and leaving the band and coming back, and it's very rare to see those two together playing, but it does happen. Don honestly doesn't have his voice the way he used to, and so they don't do much. They don't do much together. But anyway, George Lynch went on after Dokken, after he left, and he formed a band called Lynch Mob, and they had at least one mega hit, and it was called Wicked Sensation. I used to hear it on the radio all the time. I got that wicked sensation. Great song. Anyway, that was him. Jeff Pilson has gone on after Dokken and did a lot of stuff. Probably most notably, the thing that he's done most recently even is he played with Foreigner for a while. Anyway, that's Jeff Pilson, and he moved on. But look at these clothes. I mean, this was such 80s kind of look. It was really, really cool. And there were some great, I love the music that was on here. Without Warning was kind of a instrumental piece that led up to the song Tooth and Nail, which was a really fast song. Just Got Lucky. Part of the thing that made Dokken so cool was they had catchy songs. You could sing along with this stuff. You just got lucky, Poe. I believe your deadly lies. I mean, really, really catchy stuff. You got a heartless heart. See, I mean, I haven't listened to these things in forever, and I'm able to sing them. Don't close your eyes, don't close your eyes, or I'll be there when heaven comes down into the fire. These are all the different songs I'm just singing for you. I got bullets to spare. This is so weird. Alone Again. So that was actually a hit song. And it was the only song on here that was well, I shouldn't say that, because Just Got Lucky got some airplay. Into the Fire got a little bit, I think, but Alone Again was certainly the biggest song on this album. I'd like to see you in the morning light. I'd like to see you when it comes to night. It was actually a really nice song. It was kind of a ballad, slow song. I'm alone again without you. Anyway, that's what that tune was in here. And then Turn on the Action. I couldn't sing that one. I don't remember how that one goes. But I listened to this album front to back over and over and over and over again. I just absolutely loved it. And I was just a kid at the time. And let's see here. This came out in 1984. So what was I? I was probably about to turn 15 years old when this thing came out. So it was I was at that age. I was that teenage boy kind of thing, and it was pretty awesome. Now, there's a couple of other fairly significant people on this that were involved with this record. One of them here it says it's produced by Tom Werman. Tom Werman was actually like an A&R guy, and he originally helped kind of discover bands like Boston, Cheap Trick, REO Speedwagon. I think he'd worked with Ted Nugent. Anyway, that was Tom Werman. I don't know that he had a lot of experience as a producer. He was more of an A&R guy, but he produced this album. And then the other thing is, it was recorded by Jeff Workman. Now, Jeff Workman is also a really well-known entity in the business. I mean, he worked with Cars, Queen, Journey, Foreigner, Motley Crue, Twisted Sister. So these were these two guys that helped put this record together, that produced and recorded it. There was a reason that this album did pretty well and that it sounded pretty good, was because you had two fairly, heavy hitters on here that were really well known in the industry for various reasons, and they helped make this a successful album. They helped this thing be, like I said, because when you go back to listen to that first album, it does have a very, once again, kind of an amateur sound to it. This, they stepped way up, and it was probably largely because of the help of these two making this album what it became. And the inside here is kind of cool. It has your school portraits down here at the bottom. George Lynch, Don Dokken, Mick Brown, and Jeff Pilson, all looking real tough. Has the, all the lyrics to the different songs here, there, and then we flip it over, and then there's the claw from the cover of the album, the tooth and nail, well, at least the nail. So anyway, once again, I was an 80s metal kid. I was a metalhead, and I absolutely loved this stuff. And it's really fun to go back and actually listen to some of these songs, because it's funny sometimes listening to these old albums where sometimes I find out I was right, and sometimes I find out I was wrong. I'll listen to some stuff that I loved as a kid, and I'll listen to it now and go, what the heck was I thinking? This stuff is awful. And then there's other times I listen to it and I go, yeah, I was onto something there. That's actually a pretty good album. This one is, it was perfect for a 15-year-old boy. Just put it that way. It was catchy, had a little bit of an edge, and, the lyrics kind of fit that time of your life. And so it worked. And so I have a lot of nostalgia when I listen to this album, this old Dokken stuff. And honestly, George Lynch was such a great player. Don Dokken had such a great voice, and they just had something together that was just special. And so anyway, there's Dokken's Tooth and Nail. And so hope you enjoy this stuff. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. Subscribe to this channel. Leave messages, leave notes down there, comments. If there's something I forgot or additional things, people always know things that I don't know that they can share. So go ahead and put that stuff in the notes. And also, if you have old audio videotapes that need to be converted to digital, go to audiomover.com, get your order started there. And with that, have a fantastic day.